Hello everyone, I'm Jaz Lacraz and welcome to this video tutorial on adding a Power Functions motor to your LEGO Skyline Express set. Today we're going to be installing an M motor, like this one here, into the central carriage of the train, and also a battery box, like this one, into one of the passenger carriages. These are the parts you'll need to add a motor and battery box to your Skyline Express train. I'll post a link in the description of this video to proper instructions that will give you a list of all the parts so you can purchase them on Bricklink or check if you have them in your own collection. The wheels here and this centre wheels are actually from the train itself. These ones are taken from the centre carriage and these two are taken from one of the passenger carriages, and we'll actually be recycling those in this battery box and motor build. To begin, you will need the wheel section from the central carriage. And this is where we'll be installing the drivetrain and then the M Functions motor. This bit can be a little bit tricky. We're just going to put all the gears into the support beam. Now there's actually a small recess that you can use to help have these gears sit in place before you put the top piece on. So we have a couple of idler gears, they just go in like this. Now this one here will actually sit a little bit high because it's sitting on the stud underneath, but that's okay. We then install a blank one. This one will be for the motor shaft when that goes in. Another idler. Then our two main drive gears, 1 and 2. And then you very carefully and quickly put the top piece on, and as you can see that actually snaps and holds them into place quite nicely. We continue on by putting the main two drive axles in, and by putting a half bush on top of each one, and at the bottom that will now hold everything in place nicely. When you get to this point, it's worth doing a quick test just to make sure everything's moving well. So this one's a little bit tight, so I'll just back these bushes off slightly. And now that's running much nicer. I'm now going to install the drive wheels. Now these wheels actually run along the sides of the roller coaster track. And then we have this larger wheel which goes underneath, and that prevents uplift as the train goes around the corners. We added half bush to the bottom just to keep everything in place. Now it's time to mount the motor. So we're just going to take those white bricks and plates that we had before, and that's going to be added to the side here. This is just to give us the offset we need to mount the motor. So we'll set those other parts aside now, and we'll grab the motor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these bricks with studs on the side. That just goes underneath like this. And then one 1x4 brick to finish the offset for the motor. Finally we install the main drive axle straight to the motor like that. And we get the rest of our drivetrain. Now you notice we have one axle here that is actually protruding slightly. That will sit just inside this hole in the motor here. So we'll insert this now. Might need to rotate it slightly for everything to align. And there we go. Now that is ready for action. Now obviously this is not very visually appealing, so luckily what we can do is we can actually cover this motor up. Although this is a good way to see how this drivetrain actually works, this is not what you want it to look like on your train in action. So we'll take this one off, leaving the drivetrain behind. And we'll take this other one that I've already prepared, that has everything covered up, and we'll just slot that into place, like so. And now that is all ready to go. For the battery box, we'll be taking the wheels off the passenger carriage, and this one's actually a very simple install, so put those down there. Done. Now we're going to go through a similar process for the battery box also, to try and make it look a little bit more like one of the passenger cars. In this case, we're going to leave obviously the power button exposed and at least one of these sockets so that the motor can connect easily. We're also going to make use of these brackets that we installed when we first put the battery box together. Now, when we plug it in, we'll run the cable over the top here, around and into the socket. And once that's on, we'll just put the roof on. And it's all ready to go. And this is how it should look when you're all done. So as you can see, I've left the top piece of roof off just to get access to the power button. But once you push the power button, you can just slot that back on. So that everything looks nice. Maybe not do it all the way up so that it's fairly easy to take off in case you need to turn it back on or off again. Now, as for the drive card, you'll be able to see here, hopefully, that the rubber wheels actually run along the edge of the rail, and then those large white hubs prevent uplift by having a little lip that sits just underneath the edge of the rail there. This is quite a robust system, and you should find that it goes around the corners without any problem at all. Now, unfortunately, what you'll discover once you've finished installing the motor and battery box on your Skyline Express train is that it's increased the height and width of the train itself, and it no longer fits in the station. So we're going to have to do a bit of a modification to the station as well, because currently the motor actually hits the underneath of the top beam here, and then the drive wheel actually just clips this part of the pillar down here. So we're going to open this area up a little bit, lift the whole roof up a little bit, and then the train will be able to go through and pull up at the station. These are the parts that you will need to make the modification to the station. Again, I'll post a link in the description of this video so you can get the instructions to how to do this modification and a list of the parts so you can again order them on Bricklink if you're missing any. So the first step is to remove the roof. We're going to try and do this nice and evenly so that the roof stays together and is easy to place down on a solid surface. Okay, and now we're going to follow the steps from the instructions that you can find in the link in the video description below to modify these pillars so we have enough clearance. There we go, ready for the roof to go back on now. Finished, and now our station is ready for the train to pull up without any collision issues. And here's where all that hard work pays off, so let's fire it up. And let's test backwards as well. So there you have it, one Skyline Express train complete with motor function. Thanks for watching everyone. If you'd like to comment on this motorization process, or if you've got modifications or a design of your own, please drop a line in the comments and I'll respond as I can. If you've got any other just general feedback about the Skyline Express set, I'd love to hear that too. Until next time, thanks and see you later.